On a cool December morning, a crew of experienced rowers from Cape Cornwall Gig Club left Penzance harbour in their training gig. After around 45 minutes at sea, the crew started to head back. But 400 metres from the harbour entrance, one of the crew collapsed. Sitting behind that crewman was retired GP Dr. Simon Dean.
David was rowing in front of me and suddenly he collapsed. I thought initially he just slipped off his seat and fallen backwards and hit his head. But then I realised that it was more serious than that. And I realised pretty quickly that he was in cardiac arrest and he needed to be resuscitated.
Bluebell Hill was coxing the team during their training session.
How did the crew react when you first realised that David had collapsed?
Well, initially sort of everyone turned round to see if they could help, which is a completely natural reaction. And of course, because he'd lost control of his oar, that started to sort of spin around the boat. So my initial thoughts were to, try and get control of the oar and get everyone sat down so the boat wasn't rocking too much. And I had no idea at that point that it was so serious. I thought maybe he just fainted from exertion or something like that, or low blood sugar, but it was really great that as soon as I sort of asked for everyone to sit down and to get back up on their oars, everyone just reacted immediately and really calmly, which was really helpful.
Amazing. Simon, when did you realise how did you realise that David was in cardiac arrest?
Well, initially I checked his pulse. I couldn't feel a pulse, but it was difficult because the boat was rocking a lot and there was a lot of movement, and with the adrenaline panic, it's always hard to check. But I realised his breathing was very irregular, if non-existent, and I thought at that moment I needed to start heart massage and resuscitate him, and that he was in cardiac arrest at that point.
It must have been quite difficult for you to be able to do in a boat out at sea. How long did it take before you managed to get back to harbour?
Well, I'm told it was the best part of 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it was exhausting. At times during it, I thought, I can't do this. This is beyond me. But somehow I managed to summon up reserves that I didn't think I had. I was very relieved when at one point I thought, I wonder how near to the coast we are and how near to the harbour. And I looked up and I could see the entrance. We were at the entrance of Penzance harbour and I could see the lighthouse. And I thought, well, we're 2 minutes from the slipway now. There'll be paramedics and help will be at hand. So I just need to keep going. And I'm glad I did.
Amazing. And were the paramedics ready when you got there?
So we arrived at the slipway at full speed, I have to say, and then there were hands ready and people willing and able to get David out quickly out of the gig and onto the floating pontoon. And Peter and I continued the cardiac massage for another minute or two, and then the paramedics arrived with the defibrillator and took over and applied the defibrillator, gave David a shock, and I think he responded immediately. So
fantastic. David, do you remember anything from when the ambulance crew arrived and from when you went into the air ambulance?
Nothing at all, apart from I kind of woke up with the paramedics around me, and first thing I felt was embarrassment because I was convinced I just passed out because I was hyperventilating, and I sort of apologised saying I'm terribly sorry for causing all this fuss. And they said, "Don't be silly, you've had a cardiac arrest." And then I saw them with the paddles and it all clicked, and it's quite overwhelming. Everyone was extremely calm and got me really settled. Obviously I was very confused and kind of upset about what was going on, and they kept me kind of calm and level and confident that everything is going to work out okay, which is a huge thing to happen to you. So it's totally new and you're out of your depth, and they're really good like that.
Absolutely.
Really calm me down, yeah.
When you got to the hospital, what was your experience like there?
Because everyone's so calm and they're all so professional, and everything went very slickly, and I seemed to be kind of stabilised extremely quickly. They put a stent in, it seemed almost instantaneously, and they explained what that was all about, and I immediately felt kind of I was going to be okay, that I was through the worst, and I was kind of out of the immediate danger, which I was out in the water, which the guys, dealt with immediately on the spot.
How long were you in hospital for?
Well, it ended up being 3 weeks. It's because of things like the run up to Christmas and things like that. They were monitoring me the whole time, which was great. Ended up spending Christmas in hospital, but the staff were just fantastic, and I owe them an enormous debt of gratitude for their kindness.
Simon, your ability to perform heart massage and the ambulance crew's access to a defibrillator helped to save David. How important is it to you that more people are trained in resuscitation?
Well, it's obviously vitally important. The more people that are out and about in the community and in sporting events and all other activities that can do resuscitation, and of course nowadays the important point is to do the heart massage and not to worry about mouth to mouth. And I think by not needing to do mouth to mouth, it means that hopefully people can not only be trained more easily, but in the event of having to resuscitate somebody, they're more confident of doing heart massage than doing mouth to mouth. But the more people that understand what they need to do and how to do it, the better the outcomes will be.
And I understand that you run regular training sessions at the club as well for resuscitation.
Well, we haven't up till now, but we are about to have our first training session, and I hope it will be a regular feature. The club is using this opportunity to fundraise for safety equipment and for a defibrillator, and we've so far had, I think, 17 club members have put their names down for our first resuscitation training evening, which will include the use of defibrillator, and it's being run by the Ronnie Richards Trust, who are a local charity who are very involved with resuscitation training.
I was talking to one of the paramedics the next day, and she said when events like this happen out in the water, normally there's not a good outcome. And thanks to the crew and their calmness and their fast thinking, my life was saved, and they got me to the shore so that the professionals then took over and stabilised the situation, and I absolutely owe the crew my life. Yeah, I'd like to do anything I can to help raise money and awareness so that other people like me can get through this and get on with their lives. And thank you all.
Thank you very much.
And the best part of it was we can now go down the pub with David and drink beer with him, which I tell you, tastes brilliant.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Well done,
Thank
David.
you.
Well done, David. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.